It's good to be with you, Sam, my new best friend also. So I'm just always thrilled to be with you.
Remember, you saying that publicly will drop your credit score 4 to 5 points.
I'll take the risk.
All right. My gosh, it must be busy as all get out at what you're doing at the RNC. Walk us through. How are things?
It is actually incredibly busy, surprisingly, even though we've had to change our whole operation to virtual. We're doing trainings online. We're contacting voters online. We're using an app called Trump Talk to get calls into states like Wisconsin, who had an election yesterday, and North California coming up. So, and then legally, we're in a lot of challenges across the country because Democrats have used coronavirus as a way to push some election reforms that will really take away some of the safeguards we have on voting. In Wisconsin, they tried to take away ID laws, things that made sure that the person who is voting is actually the person who's returning the ballot, things like that.
You're such a stickler. You're such a stickler for these.
So how dare we?
Just because I need a driver's license to get Benadryl and pick up my son from school when he was in elementary school. Wait, I'm going to your Twitter account. Let's see. Ronna McDaniel at GOP Chairwoman 36 minutes ago. We are all in this fight together. We'll get through it. But we will not throw out our most elementary promises of democracy because agenda-driven Democrats do not want to let a pandemic go to waste. Sister, sing on. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Mail-in ballots?
Yeah. And people, it sounds okay. Okay, so everybody mail in. But what people need to realize is many states do not clean up their voter rolls. So when California was legally challenged to clean up their voter rolls, what does that mean? Eliminate people who've moved away from the state or who passed away. They had 1.5 million extra voters. They had 112% registration. More people registered to vote than adults that live in the state. And the way mail-in voting works is they just send a ballot to everybody, regardless. So you've got ballots just floating out there because they're not taking care of who they're sending the ballots to. And that's why mail-in voting leaves so much room for fraud. Even the New York Times says it causes a lot of concern about fraud.
It's amazing. RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel working 25/7. And I know, let's see, it was stimulus number 3. Nancy Pelosi hauled up to the Senate and told Schumer what's going to be happening. Luckily, a lot of that garbage was thrown out, except money for the Lincoln Center, which I've never been to. But I hear they have a great Disney on Ice probably coming up. And I guess they're going to do it again, right? Solar panels and some sort of carbon neutral thing for airlines. How do we stop that? How does the president stop that, Ronna McDaniel?
Well, I think the Senate is going to push back. We do not want these relief packages that are being put forward for very good reasons. We want to help small businesses keep their employees. We want to make sure people who've lost their job, and there's so many in this country who've lost their job, that they're able to survive this pandemic that it has come to them through no fault of their own. So, but to see Democrats put wish lists in and try and push the Green New Deal and change the structure of corporate boards, and more importantly, change the election and put all these reforms in, I think we have to point it out. We have to be very vocal, and we've got to push back on these Democrats who are trying to be activists during a time of crisis.
Amen. Ronna McDaniel heads up the RNC as a chairwoman. I have no idea what the makeup of a board of directors has to do with a guy in Patterson, New Jersey with a pizza shop who's trying to keep the lights on, whose whole fortune's about to go down the drain, Ronna.
Exactly. And, Rahm Emanuel famously said, Obama's chief of staff, he said, never let a crisis go to waste. And you've heard Jim Clyburn say, we should use this as an opportunity to restructure the government in the way we want to see it as Democrats. And the American people should be wise to that. They delayed the care package because they wanted to put their wish list in. They didn't get money to the American people as quickly as possible because of this. It's really, truly shameful that Democrats have stalled aid to the American people in this crisis for their own political benefit. Ronna
McDaniel at GOP Chairwoman. She's the chairwoman of the RNC. NBF, new best friend. It's great to see the president, who's a business man, bring private sector into this. I mean, it's serious to see competitors standing on the same stage, working together, or whether it's My Pillow or he's on the phone with 3M or whatever, Walgreens. Ronna, it's so cool to see a president who understands the business sector from having been in it all his life.
It is, and honestly, this is why we're moving as quickly as we are, because the president engaged the private sector. He recognized that the bureaucracy of the CDC and the things that we had in place at the national level were not going to be nimble enough to get the tests out, to get things done for the American people. You know, it was the president as a candidate who said it is a national security issue that we have allowed our supply chains and our manufacturing to leave this country. And now we're seeing the truth of that, because GM and Ford, they're making these ventilators. GE, because we brought manufacturing back, we're able to get the things made in this country to help during this crisis. And it shows how right on the president was as a candidate. And because of his business acumen, he's involving all aspects of the private sector to solve this crisis.
Ronna McDaniel heading up the RNC. Real quick, I know you're busy. One more. The president is a rock star. I thought like a Bon Jovi in a blue suit at his rallies. And then he brought his rallies to the White House press room there. And now the media's not happy. He's getting too much FaceTime. We got to cut back. We should edit these down. We should do a news conference. What's your take on that?
It shows how bad the media is right now to say we're not going to carry the president of the United States along with the Department of Homeland Security and Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, who are giving vital information to the American people because they don't want to help him in his political run for presidency. The president's not doing this because he's campaigning. He's doing it because he's governing and leading and because he cares about this country. And to see the media dropping the coverage, it's just disgusting. The American people are being calmed and reassured every day to see the president. And you know, if he wasn't doing these press conferences, they'd criticize him for that. So there's no win for him either way.
It's like, I'm not going to have a conference. You're a jerky president. Or I'll have a news conference. All right, you're too much jerky president.
Exactly. There's no win. He just pushes back on them. I watch it every day. I love it. I also learn something every day. Learning about the testing, we're at 1.8 million Americans being tested now. They're able to do 125,000 a day. I mean, the things that are being done in this country to innovate, it shows why the United States of America is the greatest country on earth.
Amen. It also shows you how he put the pedal to the metal. We had the FDA chief, Dr. Hahn, on, I think, Monday. And we're learning things that took years are taking weeks now to get done because the president has made it immensely clear, Miss McD, that time is of the essence. Let's rock and roll. Let's act like business people. And
exactly.
You know, not a government where it can take years. So props to that. All right, I know you're busy. Thank you so much. Appreciate your friendship.
Good to talk to you, my best friend. Great to talk to you.
I'll talk to you soon. Other best friend, Ronna McDaniel. Have a blessed day. See you, babe. Bye-bye. Chairman of the RNC.